Welcome to The Scoop, a current affairs program that aims to give you news in detail. I'm Chires Anguera. The country's top referral hospital breaks new grounds in medical provision as it conducts its first ever brain surgical operation. A team of local and international doctors carried out the brain operation on 63-year-old Cosmas Chiwombwe. Mr. Chiwombwe is making steady progress after the operation, which could have cost his family more than 70,000 kwacha if he was evacuated outside the country. Students squatting and crammed up in hostel rooms is commonplace at most of the country's higher institutions of learning. Accommodation shortage has reached crisis levels, and both government and the affected institutions seem overwhelmed to address the problem. This has resulted in the emergence of boarding houses in neighboring communities where the students pay for rooms. As the world commemorates the 28th anniversary of the World AIDS Day, the search for a cure for the pandemic remains elusive and the AIDS medical puzzle continues. However, a local researcher has remained consistent 13 years on that his formula is a cure for the pandemic, estimated to have killed 25 million people around the globe. Dr. Ludwig Sondershi now feels delayed conclusive trials into his formula are deliberate, as the pandemic is a source of livelihood for millions globally. Government spends huge resources in paying for specialist treatment abroad for many citizens evacuated due to limited capacity locally. In an effort to curb the trend, government is building local medical capacity through equipping and manning the university teaching hospital, beginning handling some of these cases locally. And in moving with its mandate, the UTH has continued to strive in medical provision and can now boast of having built capacity in brain surgery.
Cosmas Chiwombwe is admitted, recovering at the country's top hospital after undergoing a major operation. He has just had an open brain surgery for a long recurring headache that also caused him to fit. The operation has brought some sigh of relief to his wife and other family members who endured many years in search of a solution.
Ilo tabarakita operation bade sanfula kwati muntu wa kwata chipumputu ngabapo na filia bauma kanshi kwade bafye limito akutafe bashima pepo to alaba pepelela shanta to ashibe chili chonse yambile mutu 05 kwa dati awe iyo operation kandi ku South Africa kuti bayakwanisha
So imanisha mfira ya mashibe ya kupela that time.
Ida bate. Awe tatwa kwete mpia shakuti twa ya ku South Africa. Twangirire mveto twalakita shani mpia shakwa ku South Africa tatukwete. Twarengirira mutu faye mpia abachirupo bambe ati faye nifeka shimpia muye kuwa TB yoshwa ala ya peperera ichi chintu kiri mu mutwe cyalafu mama.
Twale chita expect kutirati kutichaba mu future. So totela lesa because ichi alefa kuya ku South Africa, it was about 70 million. Number yo 70 million tapali yo until lesa chita we pantu lesa lenga pashirinshila pabenshila. So totela lesa no kupepela ma doctors kutila lesa bafuilishe batwalilile.
For the University Teaching Hospital, the operation is not just the first of its kind, but a demonstration of the institution's advancement in responding to the disease burden. It underpins UTH resolve to be truly the country's first-level referral hospital.
We want to specialize in serious cases. Okay, so all those that have got such cases, okay, they are free to come to the hospital so that we can assess them and see if we can put them on such a program like this. We've got a number of patients that have got a similar condition. Most of them have been done under other interventions, but as you heard, that this is the first of its kind, and hope that even the other cases that are pending, we can use the similar type of operation, because it is not only cheap, but it is also less complicated, and the patients usually do not take longer to recover, and the prognosis is quite good.
We perform the procedure that has never been performed before in this country. That is whereby we did the whole operation with only local anesthesia, and the patient was completely awake and removed a tumor called a meningioma. The entire operation was performed by Zambians. We had technical support from our colleagues in Toronto who were guiding us on the steps, and the operation has been very successful. The patient after the operation was awake throughout. He actually even moved on the trolley from the operating table to the trolley on his own.
A major step in medical provision and in demonstration of the mandate UTH is able to execute given an enabling environment. In a cracked, coarse, low-tone voice, Mr. Chibombwe can only appreciate. Appreciation of treatment, he was told, can only be attained outside the country at a huge cost.
Students' union leaders from 5 institutions in the country have declared the shortage of accommodation at their respective institutions as a crisis. The student leaders made the declaration in a communique issued at the close of a stakeholders meeting in Lusaka, organized by the Zambian National Education Coalition, ZANEC.
Getting accommodated at most of the country's institution of higher learning is a nightmare. Available bed spaces fall far away below the over-enrolled number of students. The accommodation crisis is prevalent at the University of Zambia, Copperbelt University, Evelyn Horn College, Natural Resources Development College, among others. Many students who cannot find bed spaces within the university or college confines turn to boarding houses. Boarding houses owners are having good business. Students in need of accommodation are plenty.
Suggesting that
Student union leaders and management from the 5 higher institutions of learning have since reaffirmed the need to address the crisis. They made the reaffirmation in a 9-point communique issued at the end of a stakeholders meeting in Lusaka.
People want to talk. There are still many more issues. The issue of the accommodation is just one challenge that is facing our institutions of higher learning. There are many, many other issues that have actually come out in this discussion, which we intend to be able to tackle. For example, what we are already doing as ZANEC, we have already engaged a consultancy that is looking into a study on the issue of the bursaries versus the loan scheme, because generally speaking, as I think as the Zambian people, we are agreed that we need to implement bursary scheme side by side the loan scheme, because we know that there are some students who are coming from possibly well-to-do families that would rather access loans rather than grants, bursaries per se, which are not even sustainable.
Zambia National Education Coalition, ZANEC, calls for concerted efforts to address the accommodation crisis.
Immediately there was an issue on the Copperbelt University as regards the issue of accommodation, where the university, the Copperbelt University administration decided to ban the squatting by students, and then we saw a reaction by students by way of rioting. We felt compelled as ZANEC, other than just issuing a statement, that our contribution was to bring the various stakeholders to a round table such as the one we've just been having here today, with the view that we dialogue together and find lasting solutions to the crisis that we have in the country.
Government is fully aware of the accommodation crisis. However, its efforts to address the problem have not been consistent.
Getting to zero new HIV infection, zero discrimination, and zero AIDS-related deaths. This is the theme of the 2013 World AIDS Day. However, the question still remains, How far is the world from finding a cure for the pandemic that has claimed millions across the globe?
Estimates indicate that about 25 million people have died from the HIV/AIDS pandemic globally. One of the 25 million victims of the pandemic is the 31-year-old firstborn son of Dr. Ludwig Sondashi. It was during his son's illness years back that Dr. Sondashi began the search for a possible cure of the disease, though his son succumbed. 13 years on, Dr. Sondashi insists, like on the first day he made the pronouncement in 2000, that his formula cures AIDS.
There was someone, and I can't mention the name, from National AIDS Council who came to me and said, look, you Dr. Sondashi, you want to bring this cure. Now where shall we go? Because we've been working, and some of us are waiting to be pensioned. I was invited to talk about this cure. The American ambassador telephoned the government, the president, and he told him that if Zambia goes ahead supporting Sondash formula, we know so that they can find a cure, we shall stop aid. You can see trying to that is blackmailing government.
With 35 million people infected globally, a cure will bring relief to many. International tests on the formula have proved it has properties for a possible cure. However, Dr. Sondashi feels conclusive trials on the formula's safety and efficacy are being deliberately hampered.
Well, the research is slow, I must say, because what has happened is that, as you know, the trials are in two stages of any type of medicine. So the stage, one stage is the laboratory stage. The laboratory stage, as you know, was concluded, and it is accepted. The reports from both Zambia and South Africa and America agree that Sondash formula is effective against HIV and AIDS, meaning that it can treat HIV and AIDS, and that it kills the HIV virus. That is accepted. But in addition to laboratory testing, this is what we call they call in vitro testing. There must be the testing in vivo. In vivo means that you must also put in clinical trials human beings themselves to ensure that the medicine, to see how the medicine works when a human being is taking it. Now, this is what is remaining in Zambia.
Government is sponsoring local trials of the formula in a bid to find out whether it is indeed a cure for AIDS. It is also aware of the delays in the trials. As the world marks the 28th AIDS Day, the question still remains on how far is the search for a cure. As Dr. Sondashi, a constitutional lawyer by profession, found the cure for a disease many scientists and researchers world over have long accepted as no cure. Only time will tell as trials on the formula continues, while the world's patience for a cure continues to be stretched.
That's it on The Scoop for this week. But before we go, here's our proverb of the week. Do not expect to sit on a chair when you visit a place where the chief sits on the floor. Do not expect to be offered a chair when you visit a place where the chief sits on the floor. Until next week, bye-bye.